Hey guys, it's Faith Duo.
Back with another video. So we're back for some proof.
Hey guys, it's Faith Duo.
Back with another video. I'll cut you off there. All right. So we're going to react to a video of 9 discoveries that confirms the Bible, historical evidence that proves what the Bible says is true.
That the Bible knew and was written on these scrolls way before, modern history started developing. And the reason why we're bringing these reaction videos with proof of the Bible, because we want you to know that the Bible is real, the Bible is accurate, it came from God, our creator, and it's how you are saved so you can be in heaven, and it's what your life is all about.
We want to strengthen you. We want you to make sure that you are strong in your faith and that you don't doubt it.
Boom, let's get to it.
The Bible is the most historically accurate book ever penned. Hundreds of ancient discoveries verify its accuracy, and here's a list of 9 of those.
9.
Number 1, the Pilate inscription. In 1961, in an Italian-sponsored dig in Caesarea, archaeologists uncovered a stone that had a Latin inscription on it that said Pontius Pilatus, prefect of Judea. That Pilate is mentioned in the gospel accounts on several occasions. You read in John 19:29, Pilate then went out to them and said, "What accusation do you bring against this man?" The find verifying the New Testament statement that Pilate was the prefect of Judea.
Boom. I'm telling you, if Pilate is an accurate person, then most likely all these other people in the Bible that they continue to prove that these people really did exist in history, but that means Jesus is real. The most important person, the one who saved you, the one who died on the cross.
Yes, it just confirms that the history of what the Bible is saying, that a real person, Pontius Pilate, a ruler in that region, was there.
The Bible keeps it 100.
Discovery number 2, Hezekiah's tunnel. In 2 Chronicles 32:30, we read a statement that says, "This same Hezekiah also stopped the water outlet of Upper Gihon and brought the water by tunnel to the west side of the city of David." You would think that if a king had dug a tunnel under Jerusalem, we would be able to find it, and that's exactly what we find. A huge tunnel that matches perfectly the biblical description of Hezekiah's tunnel.
What year did they say they discovered that? Because these things, like the Bible was written years before mankind discovered stuff, and like you can walk through the history of the Bible. You can't tell me that's not real.
But that's something small, like a small detail of what the Bible says, talking about a little tunnel, a small detail like that, and they actually found that tunnel. That's awesome.
This is something you can go touch.
Discovery number 3, the Taylor Prism. In 1830, a man by the name of Robert Taylor uncovered a 15-inch tall clay cylinder. There are 500 lines of written text on this clay cylinder, and it was put there by a man named Sennacherib. Well, Sennacherib was a king of Assyria that you read about in the Bible. On the clay cylinder, here's what Sennacherib said. As to Hezekiah the Jew, he didn't submit to my yoke. I laid siege to 46 of his strong cities, walled forts, and to the countless small villages in their vicinity, and conquered them by means of well-stamped earth ramps and battering rams. It's interesting when you compare Sennacherib's statement of what he did with the biblical statement of what he did. In 2 Chronicles 32:1, we read, Sennacherib, king of Assyria, came and entered Judah. He encamped against the fortified cities, exactly like Sennacherib says he did.
I think that's cool that he made basically a time capsule of what he did, that 15 inches, something like that. And they found it way later in history. And, a king is going to write the good stuff about what he did. So they basically documented history, and we found it, and it lines up exactly with the Bible. Proof.
Discovery number 4, the David inscription. For many years, people said that David was a figment of the Israelite imagination because no archaeological finds had been discovered that verified his existence. And yet, in 1993, in Tel Dan, there was a man who was working named Abraham Byron who discovered a stone, and on that stone was the inscription of an Israelite king from the house of David. The Bible uses that very designation in 1 Kings 12, verse 19. The David inscription validated the biblical text. Number 5.
Crazy. Let me tell you, in the Bible, it tells how, it prophesies how Jesus would come from the house of David. And if the house of David exists, that means Jesus exists. That means he saved you. And you better do what it says in the Bible.
Number 5, the Moabite stone. Found in 1868, it's a black basalt stone that measures about 3.5 feet high, 2 feet wide. On that stone, Mesha, the king of Moab, cut lines of text in about 850 BC. Mesha mentions that Omri was the king of Israel who had oppressed Moab, but then Mesha says he saw his desire upon Omri's son and upon his house. The Mesha stone cites Omri as the king of Israel, just as 1 Kings 16, 21 through 28 indicates. Furthermore, it mentions Omri's son, Ahab, in close connection with the Moabites, just as 2 Kings 3, 4 through 6 does. In addition, both the Still and 2 Kings 3, 4 through 6 list Mesha as the king of Moab, and it further names the Israelite tribe of Gad and the Israelite God, Yahweh. Another validation of the biblical accuracy.
Another king mentioned in the Bible, found in the history books, like on that Moabite tablet of stone. That's another cool thing. I mean,
the thing about history books nowadays is like the history books that we have aren't accurate. Like there's stuff in there that people have messed up and we take them as word. Like we think that the teachers are teaching it, it's in this history book, so it has to be real.
Yeah, many people believe that the Bible is not accurate just because, it's a faith-based book, but it's actual accounts in there of people in history, kings, like I said, Pilate, the Moabites, the tribe nations, just so many different things that are completely accurate that lines up with history that nobody has proven that the Bible is wrong.
Right. I mean, about 40 different men who were in history wrote the books of the Bible by inspiration of God. So that's not how they know what to write, and the accuracy just hasn't ever been disproven.
Flawless.
Victory.
Number 6, the Nazareth house. In 2008, a skeptic named Rene Son wrote a book that he claimed destroyed Christianity once and for all. He said that Jesus could not have existed because there was no town of Nazareth in the first century. In 2009, an archaeological discovery was announced that they had found a small house in Nazareth that dated to the first century. The house was only about 900 feet square total, but it was large enough to provide evidence of the Bible's accuracy.
That's so funny because it was so close when somebody came out with a book like that to say the town of Nazareth, where Jesus is from, didn't exist, and then 1 year later they came out.
2009, they said they, found that out. So, they found the house during that time that Jesus would be roaming the earth, and that's just another crazy thing. Like somebody gonna write a book saying basically that Nazareth didn't exist during that time.
Well, what's funny is the longer we exist and the more technology we have, we just think we know everything. Yeah. But then the Bible stays the same, God stays the same, and it still keeps proving human wrong. And it's we just, some people, the human race just cannot accept that this is facts, this is real.
Number 7, the Cyrus cylinder. In 1879, Hormuz Rassam found a small clay cylinder. It's about 9 inches long, and it's now in the British Museum of Natural History. In the ancient city of Babylon, he uncovered this, and this clay cylinder was commissioned by King Cyrus. And it had an inscription on it about his victory over the city of Babylon and his policy toward the nations he had captured. And the text said, "I returned to these sacred cities on the other side of the Tigris, the sanctuaries of which have been in ruins for a long time, the images which used to live therein, and established for them permanent sanctuaries." The policy, often hailed as Cyrus's Declaration of Human Rights, coincides perfectly with the biblical account of the ruler's actions, in which Cyrus decreed that the temple in Jerusalem would be rebuilt, and that all the exiled Israelites who wished to join in the venture had his permission and blessings to do so. You'd read that in Ezra chapter 1, verses 1 through 11. This little 9-inch long clay cylinder stands as impressive testimony that validates the biblical accuracy. Number 8. The discovery of the Pool of Siloam. In 2004, a majestic stepped entrance to the Pool of Siloam was uncovered in the area known as the City of David. In John chapter 9, verse 7, we read that Jesus said to a blind man, "Go wash in the Pool of Siloam," which is translated sent. So he went and washed and came back seeing. Validation once again of the biblical accuracy. Number 9, the Hittite tablets. For many years, people made fun of the biblical text and said it mentioned people and places that never did exist. One of those groups was the nation of the Hittites. But in 1906, Hugo Winkler was doing some excavation in the Turkish city of Baghdad-Koy. There he uncovered 10,000 clay tablets that documented the history of the Hittite nation, and they discovered that that area was the capital of the Hittite nation. In Joshua chapter 11, we read about the Canaanites in the east and the west, and the Amorite and the Hittite. In 1906, Hugo Winkler discovered the Hittite nation that the Bible had mentioned some 3,000 years before. The Bible is the most historically accurate book ever penned.
Mm-hmm. I tell you, and I love about the pool they were talking about. I love history you can touch. So it's something you can touch so you know it's real.
Yeah. Like another small little thing that it talks about in the Bible that's revealed true. But the Hittite nation, that's a large nation that people didn't think that existed, but was 100 years ago, the guy found that, the Hittites were mentioned. So I think that's just amazing that we just keep finding things that go hand in hand with what the Bible says.
That's right. You can't prove the Bible wrong.
So like he said, the Bible is the most historically accurate book that has ever been written. So make sure that you have your faith strong in the Bible. Nobody can come against it, because what we keep finding just goes hand in hand, and it's going to disprove anybody that comes against it. All right, that's all we have for today. We appreciate you. We love you. Make sure you share this information. Get this out. Be the light.